Come and see me again tomorrow morning. I promise that by then, Ayu will find his father healthy and lucid again.
Thank you, Dr. Baizhu. Thank you so much.
If you still have any misgivings, Director Hu, please feel free to hang around for as long as you wish.
However, it would be best if you step outside this room. A doctor must be able to focus when treating a patient. Any distractions heighten the risk of complications.
Yes, of course, absolutely. I'll just go and look at the flowers or something. But I will be back in an instant at the first sign that something's amiss.
See you tomorrow, Baizhu and Changcheng.
Bye for now, everyone.
Are you ready, Baizhu?
Ready as I'll ever be. I'm used to it by now.
All's well that ends well, huh? You know, Paimon's kind of curious after hearing Baizhu mention those people from his past. What do you think they were like? Yeah, you must be curious too, right? Let's go see what we can find out while Baizhu's busy treating Ayu's dad.
Idling time on admiring the scenery, the spectacled snake-bedecked docs doing surgery. Hello, you busy bees, and what do you have to discuss with the funeral director today? Actually, don't tell me. Let me guess. From the looks on your faces, you've got some questions for me.
Guilty as charged. So, we were just a little curious about Baizhu's master. What was he like? Oh, and also, how come you and Baizhu could tell so quickly that Jia Liang had god remains in his system?
Huh? I thought I told you once before. Wangsheng Funeral Parlor was first founded to fight back against the vengeful wrath of gods defeated in war. Well, it is a dusty old tale by this point. Long story short, in the ancient world, dead gods were acting up, so our ancestors started purifying the air and burning the bodies of the deceased to guard the border between life and death. These days, we don't deal with the wrath of the gods anymore, but all the relevant know-how is still passed down to each generation, so we can identify gods' remains when we see them.
Okay, Paimon gets it now. Wait, so how did Baizhu learn to spot them?
Almost certainly from his master, who was also my great-uncle. Baizhu's master was my grandpa's younger brother, a former deputy director of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor.
Wow, fancy that! Huh. So, if he was from Wangsheng Funeral Parlor, how did he end up as Baizhu's master?
According to my grandpa, he and my great-uncle once went traveling together when they were young. They ended up at Chenyu Vale, where they met a pharmacist. That pharmacist must have cast some sort of spell on my great-uncle, because after that encounter, he suddenly announced he wanted to leave the family business and go practice medicine instead. My grandpa had a huge argument with him, but he couldn't convince him to stay. So my grandpa inherited the funeral parlor, while my great-uncle stayed in Chenyu Vale to practice medicine. They never spoke to each other again.
Funeral director to doctor is a pretty big career change. Kinda hard to imagine. But why did it drive a wedge between them for the rest of their lives? That seems a bit extreme.
If he had just become a regular doctor, there would have been no issue. After all, the Wangsheng funeral parlor wasn't unlike a regular doctor's clinic in the early days. But according to my grandpa, the pharmacist they met had a very ominous aura about him. And on top of that, the kind of medicine practiced in the Chenyu Vale tradition goes against the natural order of things.
In what way?
Don't know. My grandpa didn't know the specifics. And you've seen how wary Baizhu is around me. He'd never tell me anything. But even that says to me that he definitely has something to hide. One thing I do know about Baizhu is that anyway, so I will be sticking around here for now to keep...
After all that, it seems like we have more questions than answers. Never mind. We'll just have to ask Baizhu himself about all of this tomorrow. It's a new day! Let's go back to Boo Boo Pharmacy and check out how Jia Liang is doing.
Dad!
Are you?
Dad, you remember me!
Yes, I remember now. Oh, I'm so sorry. You must have been worried sick. Has your mom shown up yet? She's been gone for a while, hasn't she?
Don't worry, Dad. I got the Adventurers Guild to help us look for her. And Dr. Baizhu's gonna help too. Right now, all you need to do is concentrate on getting better.
Great. That's wonderful. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Baizhu.
My pleasure, really. It's the least I can do to honor my late master's dying wish. If anything, I should be apologizing to you for not making the time to visit in all these years.
Not at all, Dr. Baizhu. It's only because Jiang Li... What was her reason again?
You're still in the early stages of recovery, so you'll need to take it easy for a while. Take it slowly and try not to overexert yourself.
I suggest you stay at Boo Boo Pharmacy and rest for at least the next few days.
Director Hu, do you have any further reservations about Jia Liang's condition?
It seems like the evil presence is gone after all. You really did manage to suppress it, huh? But how did you accomplish this in a single night?
That would be a trade secret, I'm afraid. If that gives you any cause for concern, you may continue to monitor Jia Liang for as long as you wish. Though I regret to say that Boo Boo Pharmacy cannot offer to reimburse Wangsheng Funeral Parlor for any revenue lost in the meantime.
Oh, come on, Baizhu. I'm not that unreasonable.
I've been stuck indoors for too long. Baizhu, take me outside for some air, or I'm going to suffocate.
Yes, of course. Everyone, please excuse Qiangsheng and myself for a moment.
Suffering now, are we? Did you seriously expect to cover it up just by putting on a brave face and ignoring it? If it weren't for my quick thinking, they'd have all seen the sorry state you're in by now. But in any case, why must you keep this a secret from everybody? You should at least share your secret with one person you trust.
Who's there?
Ah!
Why did you follow us here? Oh, it's nothing. I just needed to get some air.
What did I just say about putting on a brave face? Traveler, Paimon, the truth is, Baiju did not cure Jialiang's illness. Instead, he transferred some of his own life force to his patient to temporarily subdue the poison in his system. Baiju, can you please explain all of this?
My predecessors in medicine forged a contract with Changsheng. Every successor to this contract is able to use Changsheng's secret art to treat patients. I believe the irregularities with Jialiang's heart meridian were likely caused by a poison concocted using god remains as a key ingredient. The poison has not been purged.
Changsheng? You can do that? Huh. Paimon always thought you were just Baiju's strange choice of a necklace. Hey, I'll have you know that I commanded the respect of even the Adepti back in Chenyu Vale. If anything, he is my mannequin. I was treating patients with Baiju's master's master long before he ever set eyes on his first medical text. Whoa. Guess you shouldn't judge a snake by its skin.
Please, that's enough.
Wait a sec. Huto was saying that the branch of medicine you studied uses some pretty dubious methods. So, when you transfer your life force, does that mean you're actually damaging your own body?
Hardly. Changsheng helps to keep my chi in balance, so there is no great harm done.
Still, Baiju's life force is not unlimited. We must find a way to neutralize the poison in Jialiang's body. And soon. Traveler, Paimon, would you lend this dummy a hand? He needs someone checking up on him, or he'll exhaust himself trying to accomplish everything on his own. Baiju, don't you think you should seize this opportunity? You cannot expect to hide this from everyone for your entire life. Time will see that all secrets surface eventually.
Thank you, Traveler and Paimon.
Huh. Paimon doesn't think we've seen this side of you. But there's no need to thank us. You've helped us out before.
The poison in Jialiang's system must have accumulated over a prolonged period. Yes. I asked Ayu this morning before you arrived. He told me that his family lives in a secluded spot to the west of Qingsa village. Let's head there together once I've asked Gui and Chi-Chi to look after the pharmacy. As well as investigating Jialiang's exposure to the poison, we should also keep an eye out for Ayu's missing mother. My fellow...
Into the wind. One with nature. The wind knows me. Taking a stroll in the middle of a downpour certainly rouses the spirit. But it's best to dry your clothes as soon as possible.
This is great. I feel so relaxed all over. I could almost float away. Hup. Huh. Whoa! There's a house all the way out here? Huh. It's so well hidden, Paimon's never noticed it before.
Nor have I. And I've hosted clinics at Qingsa Village many times in the past. If you ask me, Jiangli was trying to remain unnoticed.
Oh, that reminds Paimon. We meant to ask earlier, but it slipped our minds in the rush to get here. Could you tell us more about Jiangli? You said she was your fellow disciple, right?
She was indeed. We studied medicine together under the same master near Chenyu Vale. She is several years older than I and also began her travels far earlier than me. As a result, the time I spent studying alongside her was rather short.
Supposedly, she met an herb gatherer sometime during her travels and decided to settle down with him. That must have been Jialiang. Wait, Changxiang, are you saying neither of you had actually met Jialiang or Ayu before all of this?
Jiang Li did occasionally come back to Chenyu Vale to see our master, but for whatever reason, she hardly ever talked about her family. The last time she visited us, she and master had some sort of quarrel. We never heard from her after that. It almost seemed as if she'd gone into hiding.
Quarrel? What happened? I don't know. I did not witness the argument myself.
Nor did master ever explain it to me. All he would say is that should I ever encounter Jiang Li or her family in the future, I should do everything in my power to help them.
Oh, so that's why you went to such extreme lengths to help Jialiang.
No. Even if my master had never said anything, it would still be my duty as a doctor to help him. My decision would have remained the same.
Paimon never knew you were so selfless, Baizhu. Paimon always had you down as the sneaky, scheming type. Sorry.
So a few words from me is enough to dispel all your suspicions, You ought not be quite so quick to relax your guard, Paimon. Sometimes even the good guys have their own private agenda.
What the... Okay, that was the most suspicious-sounding thing you've ever said.
Let's leave the idle chatter there for now, Jiang Li has lived in this house for many years. There must be something here that can shed a little light on this whole situation. Let's split up, but if anyone finds anything, we'll examine it together.
Traveler, Paimon, come quick! What is this?
Changsheng and I found a hidden compartment. This is what was hidden inside.
You sense it too? You're right. This is a poison concocted using god remains. Is it breathing? Paimon's not seeing things, is she?
No, your eyes do not deceive you. I do believe the poison in this bottle is alive. Some toxins act a lot like living organisms. I read about this once in the Origins and Symptoms of Diseases. This ancient class of poisons consists of mother and minor loads, capable of sustaining a connection over vast distances. If it's a concoction of this kind we're dealing with, then both the poison in Jialiang's system and this one here are likely minor loads. Offshoots, essentially.
Offshoots? So, the main body is somewhere else?
Correct. Whoever is administering the poison can manipulate the source to indirectly control the poisoned individual's behavior and even cognition. Similarly, the poisoned individual will hear, to a varying extent, the call of the source.
The call of the... Wait. So, back when Jialiang ran off, maybe that explains where he was heading!
Only one thing could have been drawing him there. The source of the god remains used as the poison's key ingredient, the mother lode.
This is getting crazier and crazier. What kind of person would do all this just to poison Jialiang? Hey, why has everyone gone quiet all of a sudden?
Since this poison was carefully hidden away in a secret compartment, the one who concocted it is likely a resident of the house.
You mean Jialiang? Why would he poison himself?
Think a little harder, Paimon. Someone else who lives here, and who might have expertise in crafting drugs.
Huh? So you're saying... it was Jiang Li? Wait, but that doesn't make any sense either. Why would she poison her own husband?
I agree. It makes little sense. Jiang Li does not strike me as the kind of person who would do such a thing.
Look at the facts, though. How many people in the entirety of Liyue have the ability to concoct a poison from god remains?
It's too early to draw any conclusions. We should question Jia Liang about it once he has made more progress in his recovery. Yes. According to the origins and symptoms of diseases, the minor loads will disappear if the mother load is purged. So if we can find and destroy the source of these god remains, the poison will leave Jialiang's system without the need for any further treatment. Do you know anything about god remains in Qingsa village?
Even the history books have no record of this. The only ones who'll know anything are those old fogies who have been hanging around here since the beginning of time.
Didn't you used to be on good terms with the Adepti, though? You sure they didn't tell you anything about this?
Well,
Changsheng's memories and powers are not what they were in her prime. These days, she has to enter a contract with a mortal and share their life force just to sustain her own life. I fear that such ancient events are long gone from her memory by now.
Whoa, what? Enter a contract? Share life force? Sounds like some pretty spooky sorcery if you ask Paimon.
hey! Plenty of people would jump at the chance to join forces with a powerful being like me. With my assistance in rebalancing your chi, not only can you extend your lifespan, but you will also be stronger, healthier, and able to eat whatever you like with no risk of upsetting your stomach.
Stronger and healthier? Wow, that's amazing! Baiju, maybe when you retire, you can let Paimon sign a contract with Changsheng for a few days.
Unfortunately, Changsheng's contract has strict requirements regarding the host's temperament. None of her hosts have ever been exempted from these rules. I fear that I will be unable to accommodate...
Temperament? Hey! What are you trying to... Ugh! Paimon's mad! You're getting ugly nicknames, both of you! Baiju, you're... Mannequin Man! Changsheng, you're just... a pain in the neck!
This is exactly why your natural temperament makes you woefully unsuited to being my host.
All right, everybody, calm down. Back to the matter at hand. Is there any way at all for us to seek counsel from the Adepti about this?
With how antisocial they are? If it were up to them, They go their whole lives without showing their faces to the common folk. What?
Seems you're as well connected as they say, traveler. We are truly fortunate to have you on our side.
Oh, if you're talking about who Paimon thinks you're talking about, you better do the honors.
You called?
Ugh, gets Paimon every time.
Are all Adepti in the habit of materializing out of thin air like this?
Well, this is unexpected.
Huh? It's you.
Baiju of Boo Boo Pharmacy. I do believe I've had the pleasure before. The Lantern Rite, when we met briefly. I was unaware of your true identity. I must apologize for the discourtesy.
Huh? You two already know each other?
Our paths have crossed once before. I sense the presence of evil spirits. Is this why you called me? So someone has been concocting demonic poison. Too often, fervent desires drive mortals to abandon all regard for their own safety. It is lamentable. I now know what you seek. It is true that a god's remains are buried beneath the foundations of Jinxa village. A vile monster known as the Ch once wrought havoc over this land, before it was subdued by Rex Lapis. The land was finally cleansed of poison when Rex Lapis used statues in his likeness to seal the serpent's remains. Jinxa village was founded some time after that. The seal is still mostly intact. If the Ch is the source, then it must be some of its blood leaking from deep underground. However, its aura is faint and barely detectable. You will need to investigate further to identify the location of the leak. I do not like to intervene against mortals unless absolutely necessary, but when demonic forces are involved, things can spiral out of control. If that happens, be sure to call my name again. Nothing. I do not wish to sway decisions that are mortals to make, but immortality may not be the blessing that you imagine it to be.
I shall treasure your words of instruction, Master Adeptus.
Farewell.
What a strange Adeptus. Rather different from the way I remember them.
That's Xiao for ya! And thanks to him, we finally got some concrete info to go off.
If the god remains are leaking from underground, Jiangli must be paying a visit to a subterranean cave on her herb-gathering trips. If we can find the cave...
Master, there's a problem.
Gray? Did you run all the way from Boo Boo Pharmacy?
What happened? Don't panic. Just catch your breath and tell me everything.
It's Jiaoliang. He was fine one minute, and then he suddenly took a turn for the worse.
Already? How? Based on past experience, he should have been fine for the next 3 days at least.
It seems that my worst fears have been confirmed. Everyone, back to Boo Boo Pharmacy now!
Fire hazard!
Dad!
Don't be scared. Dr. Baishu will be back soon.
How is he doing?
Dr. Baiju, you're back! My dad was doing fine earlier, but then he suddenly started coughing up.
When Gui left, he was still conscious. But now...
Kui, please take Jia Liang to the back room and prepare for treatment.
Yes, of course.
Don't worry, Ayu. I will cure your father.
Baishu's not gonna use Changsheng's secret art again, is he? Is there really no other way to save Jia Liang?
How are you feeling, Dad? Are you still hurting anywhere? You're not gonna suddenly collapse again, are you?
Much better, Ayu. I'm feeling much better. In fact, I can't explain it, but somehow I feel even better than usual. Wait, where's Dr. Baiju? I still haven't had a chance.
Master said he needed to take a quick rest and asked me to bring you out of the treatment room. He hasn't emerged yet, so he must still be resting.
Oh, really? Well, he must be tired from treating me for 2 nights in a row. I don't know how I can begin to repay him for saving my life. I'll have to discuss it properly with Jiang Li once we find her. Speaking of which, has there been any word of her whereabouts yet?
No, the Adventurers Guild hasn't gotten back to me yet. I'll go check with them again in a bit.
I'll come with...
Don't forget what Master said. You're still not out of the woods yet, Jia Liang. I strongly suggest that you stay and rest at Boo Boo Pharmacy for now. I can accompany Ayu to the Adventurers Guild.
I suppose you're right. Though, on the bright side, this means I can thank Dr. Baiju in person once he's finished resting.
Traveler, Baiju hasn't shown his face ever since he went in to treat Jia Liang again. Do you think he... Huh? Hey, wait up!
Huh?
You're finally awake? That was far too risky, even with me here to help you balance your chi.
There was no time. I had no other choice. In any case, it was not completely without benefit to myself. I managed to learn something. Jiang Li's design is quite brilliant. She makes numerous innovations that I can learn from. Alas, if only there wasn't a catch.
So, how much longer do you think Baju's gonna nap for?
They've been outside waiting for you the whole time while you were asleep. Shall we at least go and show our faces?
All right.
Surely he hasn't. There's no way he could have just...
Who's talking behind our backs again?
Ah! Baju! Changsheng!
Of course. There's no need to be concerned. I merely had to transfer a rather large amount of life force on this occasion. But, with Changsheng's help, I will recover in time.
Jialiang seemed fine yesterday. Why did he need more life-saving treatment again so soon?
I made an error in my initial diagnosis. Jialiang is in fact suffering from more than one ailment, and as a result, his life force depleted at a greater rate than I had anticipated.
What? You mean, even if you got all the poison out of him, he'd still be sick?
Yes. But more pertinently, the poison in Jialiang's system is there precisely because it is being used to manage his underlying medical condition. Jialiang has a rare congenital heart condition, and ongoing treatment is essential to maintaining healthy functioning of his heart meridian. Left untreated, it puts the patient at risk of coughing up blood and fainting, and in the longer term, causes irreversible damage to the internal organs. Though it was created from god remains, this formula is not a poison in Jialiang's case. Rather,
Had he not
a
taken...
viable long-term solution. As time passed, and the poison accumulated in his system, it began to impact his cognition. Moreover,
Surely he hasn't. There's no way he could have just...
Who's talking behind our backs again? Turn to the same to sacrifice one's own life to save others. To go beyond human means in order to do the impossible.
Well, I think that it's too early to say with any certainty what fate has in... In any case, I have stabilized Jialiang's condition. Her regular exposure to god remains over such a... And given that she's already been missing for several days, I am fearing the worst.
It's me, Traveler, Dr. Baiju.
It's Jialiang! Don't tell Paimon you overheard...
I'll remember.
Be careful. If you get too agitated, your blood pressure...
Are you heading out?
Yes, this could be a long one. Could you please prepare a dose of the usual formula? Please add an extra measure of mistgrass pollen, and 1 dose...
Doctor...
Hop to it now.
Okay.
Fuse is lit!
Honey, if you don't...
But I don't want to.